Hi, this is Professor's Mailbag. We got some questions and some inquiries about some information from either some of you that have emailed in or that you have mailed me questions to my website, which is itainttv.com. I invite you to visit there if you haven't been there already 1,000 times. Come back again. If you got questions, certainly send them in to me. I'm going to try to answer them all. If you have any questions about Sonar GPS, certainly go to Bassmaster Insider or Bassmaster.com and ask the experts. If you ask them a question about Sonar GPS, I'm going to get it. So you can look on their website or look on my website, but send them in here. Here's some questions that I have that I would like to answer today to these people. And here is a question from, I'm getting older, a question from Donnie over in Paducah, Kentucky. Donnie says, when I get my boat on plane, I'll lose the bottom signal. It just starts flashing at me and I don't know what's going on. What's wrong? Well, Donnie, that's a really good question. The answer is air. When air passes underneath that transducer, it doesn't understand it anymore because water causes sound to travel 4 times faster than it does in air. So it's going about 2,800 miles an hour in water and only about 700 miles an hour in air. So Donnie, what I suggest you need to do is move the transducer because the hull is getting air coming down the hull and passing under that transducer. So you need to move your transducer from where it is a little bit further back so you've got some clean water. All right, thank you for writing in, Donnie. All right, now the next question is, and this is probably the most asked question in the 31 years I've been with Lowrance in the sonar business, is when I get in shallow water, the thing says it's 455 feet and I can see the trolling motor prop throwing up the mud. What's wrong with it? Well, Phil, this is, and I expect somebody from down there to certainly ask me a question like Phil's from Monroe, Louisiana, and the Washita River down there, and it's very stumpy, so you fish in a lot of shallow water. What happens is this, is that because the distance is not very great from the transducer to the bottom, the volume or the sensitivity is turned up too high, and it's bouncing itself back and forth at too much power, and it kind of knocked itself in the head, so it went offline. If you'll turn the sensitivity down, Phil, it'll work perfect. Just turn the sensitivity down, and thanks for asking, but that's a question that's been here forever. Now here's another interesting question that I get a lot too. This is from Brian from Houston, Texas, up at Lake Conroe. Good lake. I like Lake Conroe, and I like Washita River too. Oh, you guys live in nice places. I've been there and fished. But this question is, I run down the lake, I put my trolling motor back in the water, and it takes forever for the signal to come back to tell me how deep it is. Brian, this is what the problem is. When you're running down the lake, you don't have the front unit on, do you, Brian? You forgot to turn it off. So that signal is signaling out into the air. So when you put it back in the water, it's cycled out into infinity for so long that when you put it in the water, it takes a while for it to come back. It'll be a better served, Brian, if you'll turn the unit off when you pull it out of the water. You all remember that. Brian, turn it off when you pull it out of the water. When you put it back in the water, turn it on, it'll read automatically at the same time. All right, here is a Sonar GPS question. This GPS question from Mr. Steed over at Santee Cooper. I love that lake, especially in the springtime. And he said, I've got one of these newfangled units, and I've been out there running around, and I'm afraid it's going to go off on me, and I'm going to lose all my waypoints and trails. How do I save a file? All right, Mr. Steve, this is how you do it. First off, you have to have a chip, and you want to use the smallest megabyte chip that you can get. You can't really find one anymore, less than 1 gig, but if you can find one that's just megabytes, that's what you want to use because it works better. Put in your unit, turn it on, okay? Press menu twice, go to System Setup, enter. We're going to transfer my data. Enter. What we're going to do is we're going to save it. Enter. Now here's where everybody goes wrong, Mr. Steed, and don't you be doing this. Right here it says file name, data. Go to file name and press enter and give this file a name. Otherwise, you're going to name that data, and the next time you save it, it's going to be called data, and then it's going to be called data, and you don't know which data it is, what date you did it on. Believe me, not all of your children have different names, and all of your files need to have different names. I suggest, what I do, is I go punch that button, and then I go down now to the month, to the date, to the year, and what unit I took it out of. Press exit, go down and press save. User date saved successfully, and that's exactly how you do it. But don't forget, before you save it, that you give it a file name. That answered that one. I hope you'll share some of those files with me, and I'll come over to see you next spring. And fish in that tournament. All right, here's another one from Brian, my good friend Brian down in Houston, Texas. Somebody gave me a whole bunch of waypoint numbers of their best spots, but they're just numbers on a piece of paper. How do I put them in my unit? Well, Brian, this is how you do it. This is how you do it, Brian. We got to go back over here. We just saved the data because it was already in there. Now we're going to enter something in there. So we press waypoint. It says saved and it says new. Well, this is going to be a new bunch of data right here. All right, so we go in here to say new. And then it says entered position. Well, that's what we're going to do. It says create. That's what we're going to do. Well, now all we have to do is go over there to latitude, press that, and go over and put the numbers in until we get the numbers that we want in that one. Exit. Go to the next one, press enter, put the numbers we want in that one, press it, and you do it. Now, I didn't put enough numbers and I didn't do the whole thing, but that's all you have to do is you select, give the numbers, the name, and then of course you could if you wanted to go down here. So you can do whatever you want to do by just simply going to waypoint, going to new, enter position, create, going over to the latitude, pressing enter, putting the number in, going to the longitude, put the number in, and that's it. It's done. And if you don't give it another symbol, then the default symbol, which is a blue diamond, occurs. And that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. Well, that's about all the time we've got for right now. Make sure you send in questions and inquiries. Either email me at wilson@8tv.com or mail me at Frazier Marine Group, 11 Arcade, Nashville, Tennessee, 37219. Until next time, good fishing.
Bye.